Hello, grade 4 students. Mr. Waterman here with today's mathematics lesson. Today is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. I hope you all are safe and well. Now, last time we talked about bar graphs and I showed you the slide. I did an example activity with you and I gave you a bit of homework on bar graphs last week. We are going to continue talking about bar graphs for this lesson. What I'm going to do with you first is just a little review looking at a bar graph, and then I'm going to get into today's lesson, okay? Now, if we look here, this is the textbook that I'm using, just in case you had any questions. This is the grade 4 mathematics book that I use from time to time. And we are on page number 375. I'm going to scan the pages in the textbook that you need, so don't worry, I'll have it available as a PDF later. Now, we're going to skip down here to number 7, okay? So it says to use the bar graph for problems 7 to 9, okay? So here's our bar graph here, and let's just review a couple of things that we talked about last week. So last time I taught you that bar graphs have two axes. There's an x-axis, which is the vertical axis, that goes up and down. This is where the numbers go. Then we also have a y-axis. That's the horizontal axis, and this goes from left to right. The information here is the categories or groups. So the title of this bar graph here that we're looking at is Robin's Book Collection. Okay, so you can see that on our x-axis here we have the numbers. Okay, and it looks like for the intervals we're counting by 5. Okay, so we start at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Okay? On our y-axis, we have the type of books Robin likes. Okay? So, let's look at the type of books. Adventure, animal, mystery, sports. Okay, so we're going to look at questions 7, 8, and 9. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my notebook to answer the questions. Okay, so you can read along with me. So, question 7. How many more animal books than sports books does Robin have? Okay. Well, for animal books, this is how I'm going to write my information in my notebook. Number 7. So, Robin has 30 animal books. And for sports books in the red, Robin has 15 sports books. Okay? Okay, so to find the answer, all I have to do is just subtract. 30 minus 15 is 15. Okay, so my answer here is Robin has 15 more animal books then sports books. Okay, so that takes care of question number 7. Now let's look at number 8. Robin has about the same number of sports books as what other type of book? Well, if we look at the bar graph here are the sports books. Robin has 15 sports books, but what other type of book is close to that number? It looks like adventure, right? So for number 8, I'm going to write Robin has about the same number of adventure books as sports books. Okay, and that's how I would write my answer for number 8. Finally, let's look at question number 9. It says, how many animal and mystery books does Robin have altogether? So this we need to add. So let's look at animal books again. We have, let's see, Robin has 30 animal books, and Robin has 25 mystery books. Okay, so for number 9, I'm going to write 30 animal books and 25 mystery books. And all I do for this answer is I'm going to add 30 plus 25 is 55. So my answer is altogether Robin has 55 books when you add her animal books and mystery books. Okay, and that takes care of my answer for number 9. So that was just an activity to review how we can look at a bar graph and we can understand the information to answer questions. Okay, so now what we're going to look at today, I'm going to turn the page, and we are on page 376 now. We're going to look at double bar graphs, okay? Now, some of you may have seen double bar graphs before. Let's read about double bar graphs together. Now, if we look up here, these are some words that you're going to need to help you understand double bar graphs. Double bar graph, key, interval. Repeat after me. Double bar graph, key, interval. Okay, now why do we use a double bar graph? Well, we make a double bar graph to compare two sets of data, two sets of information. Please listen and read with me. A double bar graph can be used to compare two sets of data. So remember, data means information. The table on the right, that's the table here, the table on the right shows the number of rainy days during May, June, and July in Cleveland, Ohio, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so these are two cities in America. It says to work with a partner, well, you can work with your mom and dad, or you can work by yourself, to make a double bar graph to compare the data. Okay, so this is the information you're going to need to put into your double bar graph. Now, making a double bar graph is easy. I'm going to show you the step-by-step process, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to do for homework tonight. Please read with me. Step 1. Choose a title and labels for the graph. Now, your title part is easy. That's the number of rainy days. You can keep the exact same title. Then, choose colors for the key. This part here is the key. You want to have two different colors, okay? The key shows what each bar stands for. So, if you use blue for Cleveland and red for Raleigh, those are two different colors. Next, choose an interval. The difference between two numbers on the scale is an interval, okay? So for our x-axis, the number of days, we are counting by twos. So we start at 0, 0, and you always start at 0. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay? Here are some points to help you understand. Please listen. What is the title of the graph? Here's my title, number of rainy days. What are the labels on the graph? Okay, so you're going to look here. If you look at your y-axis, the y-axis is for the group or categories, remember? So that's the month. So we have May, June, and July. What does the key show? Here's the key again. The key shows Cleveland in blue, Raleigh in red. What is the interval? And why is that a good interval to use? So for this double bar graph, remember, we started with 0 and we counted by twos. Why do you think this is a good interval to use? Think about that. Well, I think it makes looking at the graph easier, and you can use less numbers if you count by twos. Now, we go over to the next page. Step 2. Use the data from the table to make the graph. Okay? So all this information here that we had here in this table, now you're going to put it into your double bar graph, okay? So here's a great example. Let's look at May. Cleveland, Ohio had 13 rainy days in May. Raleigh, North Carolina had 10 rainy days in May. Can you see how they put the information in here? There's Cleveland in blue. There's 13 rainy days. There's Raleigh in red. That's 10 rainy days. You would do the same for June and July. So let's look at June. In June, Cleveland, Ohio had 11 rainy days, but Raleigh, North Carolina had 9 rainy days. I go back, I put my information in. June, Cleveland has 11 rainy days. Raleigh has 9 rainy days. And finally, you do it for July. Cleveland, Ohio had 10 rainy days in July. Raleigh, North Carolina had 11 rainy days in July. So you go back and then you put that information in. And there you go. That is your double bar graph. It's very easy to make. If you can make a regular bar graph, making a double bar graph is no problem at all. Now, one thing to remember, the bars in a double bar graph need to be together like this. There should be no space between the bars. Okay? Now, for your homework this evening, just to give you some extra practice. So I've showed you the textbook that we use. This is the workbook, the homework book that goes with the textbook. And what I like about this is that the page number we work on is going to tell you at the bottom which page in the textbook you can use to review. So this says use with text pages 376 to 377. Okay? Those are the 2 pages we have looked at today, 376 and 377. Okay? Now, for homework, please listen as I read through what you're supposed to do. So this is double bar graphs. It says, during which month did Raleigh have more rainy days than Cleveland? Right? Now that was the same example from the textbook. Right? Compare the bar for Raleigh and the bar for Cleveland during each month. In July, there were 10 rainy days in Cleveland and 11 rainy days in Raleigh. During the month of July, Raleigh had more rainy days than Cleveland. Now, your homework. Please listen. Jesse made a table to show the scores for his team, the Goldenrods, and the opposing team in the first 3 games of the season. Use the table to make a double bar graph. Use the graph to answer each question. Okay, so we had a table before. So you're going to take the information in this table and you're going to make a double bar graph right over here using all of the steps we talked about from the textbook. Okay, and you can look at the example double bar graph in the textbook, which is the same example double bar graph at the top. Okay, please remember you need to have your x-axis, your y-axis. You're going to put your number of intervals in the x-axis and the groups and categories in the y-axis. Then you have 2 questions to answer. What interval did you choose for your graph? Explain your choice. So remember the intervals. Sometimes you can count by 2s. Some people sometimes count by 4s. Sometimes by 5s. Look at the numbers here that you have before deciding the intervals you're going to choose. And question 2. During which game did the opponent score more points than the goldenrods? Okay? Explain how you found your answer. And again, I will have this page scanned and on my Weebly page. Okay? Please take care, be safe and well, and remember, when you come back to school, bring all of your math homework that you've done at home with you so I can give you credit for it. Okay? If you don't bring your math homework in, I can't give you any credit. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you all at school very soon in the future. Bye-bye.